All right, so I'm going to back up here a second so that we go back to basically our dashboard. And part of today's session is going to be talking about customizing, getting everything kind of where you want it to be and answering any questions that you might have. Now, Rhonda, you brought a really nice question to us about, how can I go out and see what else is out there and pull that in, but what if I don't like that? Can I sort of start over again? Yes, you can look, and yes, you can start over again. The place that a lot of the other colleges, universities, K-12 districts are going to is this commons space right over here. And I think I talked about that earlier, but let's do a deeper dive and kind of talk about specifically what it is that this can do for us. First of all, when I go into Commons the first time, it's probably going to say, do you agree or do you accept? And don't get scared by that. It's really just saying, it's like your library card. To come in, here's my library card so that I can go in. And really, it's just saying that I agree not to take stuff from other people and try to sell it at a profit, is really kind of what it's telling me. Because this common environment is a space that is sharing. So I'm able to share stuff. I'm able to, pull things from other, entities, other schools. And so that's really what it's asking me. It is not asking for the keys to your course. It's not saying, oh, I'm going to come in and take everything out of your course. It's not doing that. It's just saying, here's my library card. I want to come in and I want to look around. And if there's something that I find, I can put it into a course shell. I can pull it down. Or if I want to, I also can share anything that I might have developed with the rest of the community. Does that make sense? I'm just kind of letting you know what that sounds like. Now, Rhonda, which community was it? Biology or something? I can't remember.
It was
math. That's what it was. Before I go there, let me just show you over here on the side that besides the entire Canvas community, the entire K-12, universities, colleges from around the world, I can create, Ed can create a subgroup here at Johnson County for each of the departments that are there. Now what this means is that we create this subgroup and we add in only JCC faculty that would be able to see this content and work on it. So if you're concerned about, I really don't know that I want to put things out here for the world to see, but I would maybe like to keep it just for a few of us. I can create what I would call a JCC commons and then put people in there that are only JCC people. And you can share entire courses if you want to. You can share pages if you want to, modules, quizzes, anything you see right here can be put into this little commons group.
I kind of wanted to do that for the math department and move the stuff off of info, share all those files into here.
And the nice thing about this is that as those faculty become members of these subgroups, they can then see what has been uploaded. Now, you have to decide who would sort of be the manager of that group, because somebody sort of has to approve what comes in and what doesn't come in.
If, for instance, this would be an opportunity to share test banks. If you have the actual test banks, you could do this so that people then can grab them that way, right?
Yeah, now it says quizzes, the test banks would come along with those. But anything you see here, right here, could be uploaded into that commons area. All right. So as I look at the overall, the big one, the community, the Canvas community, you're going to start seeing icons that might represent different things that have been uploaded and put out there. Okay. So one of the areas that I talked about, earlier is building an orientation or tutorial course. And so yesterday I went out and I started the process of, and I don't think this is it's truthful that I've taken things from other schools. And basically, I've taken and grabbed things from other tutorials that I found at other schools, and I've developed this tutorial course. I'm also, as we speak, working on a tutorial module. So there's two things that I'm working on. One is a tutorial course that anyone here at Johnson County that might be a student interested in taking an online course can go in and kick the tires on. The other thing is taking some of the tutorials, the videos that maybe a student could take advantage of and providing a module out here that you could put into your courses if you want to. Okay, it's not there yet, but at some point, if you type in JCCC, you'll probably see something that might say module for student Canvas tutorials. Now, when I look at what I have here, I'm just kind of giving you an overview. I click on these things. It's telling me that this is a course and that it shows a summary that in this case here, I have built assignments, discussions, pages, quizzes. So as you open these things up out in the Commons environment, it will, this is just added. They'll start to tell you a little bit about what is there. And if I click on these things, it will kind of give me more detail. So like if I have modules, it will tell me that I've created modules on these areas, what quizzes. It's not really letting me jump into it, but it's giving me kind of a summary of what is coming with this specific course. And then Rhonda, as you were saying, because I've logged into who I am, over here to the right, it's saying, do you want to take this content and put it directly into a course that I already have? Now, some of you might say, well, I've already got some source courses out there that I've started to kind of play around with. You could go over here and put that stuff right into a source course. And it will start the process of importing that in automatically for you. If you say, I'm not really sure yet, but it looks like it might be something I could maybe look at later, there's also an option that says download right over here. And what that's going to do is give you like this little zip file that you can put onto your desktop, or onto a jump drive or whatever you want to. Maybe you're concerned that this thing might go away and tomorrow you come out here and it's disappeared. Okay, maybe there's that thought. This will do it directly. This will just give you this little file out there to work with.
That appears in the files.
Yeah, it would be in well, it would be on your desktop. Oh, okay. Or in your downloads or whatever you might have on your computer or hard drive to work with. So you have the option of either saving it away somewhere for later, and I'll talk about how you would bring that in, or you can just say, yeah, put it right inside of the course that I'm working.
But if you have like 3 source courses, like the thing I showed you the other day, I have 3 source courses and they all just say SPD 121, but they're different ones, but it doesn't tell me which one's which. Is it going to in your?
Well, you know, what we could do is play with the nicknaming. What I don't know is, does it take advantage of the nicknames here?
Because when you try to import a course, it doesn't show you the names.
Okay.
Right, the numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you have 3 of them, I don't know which one's which.
Well-
I know CRM.
Well,
Not the source course.
well, here's what I'll do. Because you come to my class, people. Okay, send me an email. Or maybe we can sit down after class and I can go in and rename some of those for you. Because we're learning stuff as we're going along that, yeah, you would not be able to distinguish one from the other. So we could sit down and maybe rename that. Now, my staff also can do these things too. They can go in and rename some of these classes to do that with. Okay, so does this make sense about the Commons? You know, this is something that when we started Canvas back in July or August of last year, I was out here just searching for all kinds of stuff. I was out here looking for orientations, if I can spell right.
Yeah, that's kind of fun.
So, you know, I was out here looking and I came across all these different, you know, here's a orientation for new adjuncts. Oh, cool, that looks interesting. Let's see what it is. I come over here, so as I start clicking on it, I start to see, you know, what are some things that maybe I'm interested in, okay? And if I already had a source course or something like that, I could go ahead and just import that right in right now. It also gives me a contact over here on the side of who would have contributed that. So if I wanted to, reach out to them, I could certainly do that if I want to. But I spent a lot of time at the very beginning, back in August or so, going through here. The other thing to keep in mind is as you're doing a search, you can also narrow it down by grade level. And I'm not going to say that this is, I don't want to restrict myself to only higher education, because there are a lot of materials out here that are used in K-12 that I could probably take advantage of. But it does allow you, if you want to sort of filter that and say, I only want to look at, a certain level, or maybe I only want to look at courses. I really don't care about any of these other kinds of resources out there. So I could narrow that search down and do the same thing that goes on. Okay.
So how, I think maybe this is what you're talking about, Rhonda. How do you were talking earlier about designing your homepage. So any pictures and that kind of stuff that you could.
Well, I did a Google search, Canvas called Best Canvas Homepage Examples.
Okay.
And then that led me to Canvas's internal message board. What do you think it's, I don't know, whatever
The
it's called.
community.
The community, where people post that question and then a whole bunch of people answer. So I'm basing my search in the comments area off the answers of the people in that thread. Somebody said Humboldt, somebody said something else. So I'm only searching there by name that, oh, look at Julie, what her name is, look at hers. And so I'm actually not limiting the search at all. I'm putting in an exact name of a person just because someone in the thread said, well, I thought this one was really nice. And so I'm going and grabbing that. I just needed to know if I could, that download would work, and then I could look at it, and then if I don't like it, I'm going to delete it, do a reset, and go grab another one. And maybe one of them I'll really, really like, and I'll kind of just change the wording and add in my links, and I don't know.
That was, I think we touched on that first day.
And I mean, I'm treating the comments almost like Google. I'm typing in
Right.
search words. So like another thing that's starting to kind of catch some attention is open educational resources.
Right.
So I did OER. So I'm out there and I'm seeing lots of courses that have already started to take advantage of OER. So if that's something that, is it, some of you might say, well, is it really any good or not? You could go out and take a look at what some other institutions have done on these open educational resources and see what you may or may not like about it. But I hope that you're not scared away from this, because it is a fantastic resource that's out there that you can take advantage of and use. Okay. So let me go back over here to my courses, and let me just go into one and I'll talk about all courses. And down here at the very bottom, I'm starting to see new courses. I am building classes for May, June, and July. I teach. So if you have benefited from this and you would like to tell other people, hey, Ed's not that bad, I'll be doing more classes beginning the end of May, on in through July, on into the fall. But right now I've got stuff starting the end of May, because this is the last week. I'm going to take a few weeks off if you don't mind, and then we'll hit it again in the later part of May. But they're out there. I'll start marketing that a little bit more. When I go into a course, this is kind of what I want to talk about today, is that I start with a blank course. You'll notice over here that I could say import from Commons. So I could go in there right now and basically, start looking for those courses. That's what it means, is I could do that import directly from Commons if I wanted to. The other thing is that if I downloaded that little zip file that I talked about earlier, I could come over here to settings, and I would say import course content. And we're going to talk about this in detail, but instead of a Canvas course, I'm going to come down here to the bottom where it might say something like a zip file right here,
That's what I was wondering.
okay, or common cartridge. I can't remember which is which. But what we're doing here is we are actually taking a file that would exist on my desktop.
Right.
And I'm bringing it into your Canvas course. Now, how many of you did a migration request? Okay, all of you did, all right? What we did for you, you really didn't know this, but we basically did a D2L export out of D2L, and then we did this Canvas import, or D2L import right here. Okay, so we saved you some time and some effort. But if for some reason, I don't know why, but if for some reason you want to do a export in D2L before it goes bye-bye, you could do an export, have that little zip file, and it could be there, okay? Because you're going to be famous someday, and you know they're going to look through all your archives of everything that you ever had, and you're going to possibly use this D2L zip file. So these are the ways in which we can bring in things outside of Canvas, okay, if that makes sense. If we have created a course, and here's what we've been talking about. Let's say I have a source course or a migrated course or production course. I would go up here to copy a Canvas course. That's where I would go. So when I go up here, copy a Canvas course, it says, what courses do you want? And as you start to see here, these are starting to break these down into different terms. Fall of 17, staff development, that's a lot of my stuff is. You'll start to see source courses down here. So what I'll do is, if these are all looking the same, and they really don't make a lot of sense to you, come talk to me, come talk to my staff, and we'll see if we can rename those so that they would make a little bit more sense to you. But as you start to move forward, I know what you're going to be doing, I really do, is you're probably going to be doing something from summer to, well, maybe that's a bad idea, maybe spring to fall. And the reason I say bad idea is that those are typically 16-week classes versus summer. You can do the same thing, but you're probably going to want to change things a little bit to work with that. So you could go into your, let's say, fall class and say, okay, I've got everything set up, and you've got options here. You can say copy from source. Or if I was teaching the class this spring and everything looks great, copy from spring, okay? And then as we start moving forward, you'll work on this, work on this, work on this, and say, oh, it's much better than I started with back in August. You may even say, I'm going to copy this to another spring of 19. There, okay? Your courses get better and better all the time. I know that, I see that. But you kind of just, we need to walk through the steps of how do I take it from one space to the next. Do you remember what I said about migrated courses? Yeah. What did I tell you?
Leave them alone.
Just bring them in and leave them alone. Why?
Do new stuff.
That's right. Did anybody tell you D2L is going away? Okay.
But one thing you could do is, since you can reset courses, you could reset your source and move it back to the source.
Yep.
Since you can reset the
Yes.
course.
Yes.
You couldn't do in D2L.
Correct. So if I started with this back in August, and this is going to be better, 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 better as I go
Back here.
I can say reset this,
And then copy the good one
and
back.
then put this one back in here.
Well, that's what I did in D2L.
Okay.
Because I, with production courses better, so I copied, yeah.
Sure. The thing that I'm always going to tell you is always have your backup on your source course. It's just a good idea to have that. With Canvas, we are not going to delete anything. With D2L, we did because we started running at a server capacity after a couple of years. Canvas, we're leaving them alone. What that will mean though is that your list may get rather long for stuff.
So if we had a new source course for every, as we copied our migrating course for, to improve it. Okay, so we approved one, and now I want to take my summer 2018 course and save it for next year. So I could open another, I could have another source course.
You can have as many source courses as you want,
Okay.
or if you're saying this class is much better than I started with,
Yeah.
you can go in, and I'll show this to you here in a minute, that you can reset those courses and then bring in a updated copy of that if you want to do that.
So we create a production course after we have the source course.
Well, the institution creates the production course. You then decide what you're going to put in that production course.
If your source course is what we want it to be, then you copy it.
Correct.
Yeah, that's the whole.
All of you are going to have different approaches to this. Some of you might say, oh, I know what Ed said about a source course, but I'm just going to copy what I have from fall of the spring. Okay, I'm fine. I don't care. Don't come crying to me if something happens, but chances it won't. But just keep that in mind. All right. So at this point, I'm in a production class. That's kind of what I'm telling you. I'm in a production class, and Ed's going to go do what he tells other people to do. I'm going to go find a source course that I have down here, and I'm going to say, pull in a source course. So I'm going to say, let's grab this one. And I'm going to say all content, and I'm going to adjust events and dates. This is significant, people. If you have created dates in a course, and you are moving from one semester to the other, what we can do is to shift those dates forward. Okay, so if you had due dates and starting dates and ending dates in one of these semesters, you can say adjust the events and due dates. So when I say that, it then says, okay, default says shift the dates. What is the beginning date? So let's say that this was a January class, okay, this semester, and I'm going to change this to a August 20th class, okay? And the ending date for this was May, I have no idea. May 12th, let's just say that, no, the 11th. Okay, and we're going to change that to, okay, I'm playing people. These are not necessarily locked that you might exactly use. The point I'm making is I'm moving something that was from spring forward to fall. So anything that would have been inside of that course that had a specific date attached to it is going to be shifted forward.
So can you do this for summer 4-week class as well? If it's at 16 weeks, but I want to push it to 4, is it going to do something?
Try it. I mean, what I would do is try it. And if it can
Reset it, yeah.
reset it. Yeah, go out there
You
and
can drag and drop on that calendar.
You can drag and drop the due date.
I'm curious if it will compress it into 4 weeks from 16.
I would try it, see what it does. Because, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, if that works out for you. The other thing is, some of these things you may want to think about from D2L. These migrated things that we had lots of calendars in them. Okay, and I know what you all did. You did what I did. You didn't move things forward. You just added more into there. So as I look at these courses, they've got like 300 and some calendar items inside of your courses. Parts of me feel like if I'm going to copy something from my migrated course over to the source course, I might just say remove all the dates and just clean this thing up. Then I'll go out and I'll start from scratch, getting, the stuff that I need to work with on that. Okay.
I'm gonna go.
You're gonna go build, okay. Thank you, Rhonda. Okay. No, you perfect timing. Now, this would basically bring everything over. Everything in that course. What if I only want some specific items? Maybe I only want one of these modules, or maybe one of these quizzes, or one of these files. And this happens. A lot of times you might get something from one of your colleagues that says, oh, I really like what you've done here. Can I have it? Okay. What they would need to do is, if they want to share it with you, they would have to put you in as an instructor of that class. Okay. Or we might have to do an export process, or we start talking about the commons area, where we start to have a space where all of your colleagues within the department can upload things and share those within a space. Okay, I'm just throwing those out there as kind of a possibility. If I say select content and I say import, it's waiting. See, it's saying waiting for selection. I have to come over here and tell it what is it that I want to bring over. So I might say I want just this one quiz bank. Oh, and I also want some of these pages that I'm working with. Okay. Oh, and I also want, some course files. By clicking on these, I'm just selectively grabbing only the items that I need. Now, as soon as I do this, it's queuing it up. It's going to start processing here in a little bit. If I go out there and I find, oh, dang it, I forgot to grab that other file. You can do another, course copy, select specific, and grab the item that maybe you did not bring over with that. Okay. Now, if you go out there and you try to take a 16-week class and crunch it down to a 4-week class and it just really doesn't look very good, come over here to settings. And we're going to wait, and we're going to see something that says reset course content. So when I click on that, it's saying this is irreversible. Are you sure you wish to continue? Okay. If this is something that the class has not started yet, I'm still in the building process, I know that I have a backup somewhere, sure, reset that course. And then try it again. I would never, never, never reset a course in the middle of a semester, okay? Because you probably have things in the grade book that you might be collecting and pulling in. Bad idea. If there's something that really, really bad happens to your course, my extension is 2775, elovett@jcc.edu. Call me, email me, come talk to me about that. But this would be a case if I can reset that, Terry and Diana, I think you said I could reset my source course if I wanted to, and then pull the stuff back in there to work with that. Okay, does that make sense so far?
If I can find all that stuff.
Sure.
I'm sure we can have it.
Sure. Okay, so let's talk about settings. Really, the whole thing that we're going to focus on today is this settings tab within our courses. And so we kind of spent a little bit of time taking a look at the import course content option, selecting that. If I decide that I don't know where this is at, I could also do a course name. So that's another way that you can sort. So
It still didn't.
it didn't do the sort for, I didn't find it.
I
Okay,
didn't do it by the nicknames. It
Okay.
still gave me the three all the
Okay.
same.
let's talk. We'll see if we can get those renamed for you. So this is another way besides just the drop down. Maybe there's something in these course names that you can also do with that. What does this mean? Course import cannot be downloaded after 500 days. What happens is that when we start this process, it will basically set on the Canvas server in a I'm ready to go status for 500 days. Most of you are probably going to, within a day or two, start that process of copying it over. all it's telling me is that after about a year and a half, okay, it is going to say, guess no one is here. I'm going to drop that off of my import options. I have never seen anybody let it sit there for that long a period of time. It's just telling you that that's how long it might sit there before it does that stuff. Okay, so the import, are you all comfortable in the import process and how that might work?
How did you get to that, James?
I got to settings
Mhm.
in the lower left, and then I went to course details, and then there's something that says course import content, import course content.
Got it.
Okay,
Okay.
and that's how I would get to that. All right. While I'm over here on the right, let's just talk about some other things. Share to commons. Okay, here is where if you want to share it, you could share it. I'm working through this right now that says all of Johnson County Community College. What I'm thinking, I'm hoping, is that that would only be visible to people at Johnson County Community College that do a search. Okay? And we would not necessarily have to create groups if I did not want to do that.
You still go to the regular comments and then introduce. That's what you do.
Correct. Now, I could just put it out there so that anyone that goes into Commons and types something will come across your specific item that you have uploaded. I could also do select groups. So in this case here, if I am a member of a group and I just happen to be a member of the biology group, I could put my stuff into a Commons area that I am part of Johnson County Community College Biology Commons group. So speech could have its own group. English, right? Psychology could have its own group. And what I'm doing is just asking if you have an interest in that, work with your chair. If you're the chair, send me an email and say, Ed, could I have a Commons group? I will do that. I will make you the manager, or you can say such and such. I know that you're the chair, but I'd like a blah, blah, and can I be also added in as a manager? Really, the manager, their primary responsibility is to decide who can come in and who's a member of the Commons area. Once you're there, then it asks you a series of questions about how do you want to upload this stuff. You can add title information to it, what grade level information is out there. And the thing about it is that if you're not comfortable with the way that looks, you can go out and remove it from the Commons. It's just something that you're putting it out there for people to share and do that. Okay, so let's back out of here. Just want to let you know that when you go into settings, you're going to see this share to Commons. I'm going to jump down here to conclude this course. Now, you do not want to click on that. And I'm kind of curious as to if it's going to stay there or not.
Where is it at?
You may not see it.
Oh, there, I see it now. It's under course boundary.
Conclude this course is the same thing as ending this course. When you conclude a course, you are now locking the grade book. You're locking a lot of things in here. It's not that you as an instructor would not be able to see this course. You could still see it, but you're sort of locking things down. Like it's over. What we do in a production course is that we would look at the end date and conclude the course.
On the last day of class, or I think there's a 2-week grace period.
We're supposed to be adding 2 weeks onto the end of the course. So this is where you would look at this, especially on your production courses, and say, okay, end means conclude. Most of you do not want to conclude a course prior to that date.
My conclusion date is the last day. It's only Sunday. It's 2 days after. And then the production course for the summer, it's only 2 days after. It's over on the 28th.
Well, you know what? You can probably change that.
Well, yeah. I was just curious. I mean, that's what the default setting was.
Sure, and I think what we're doing is Jeff hasn't run the script yet
Oh, okay.
to update that now. If you want to change it now, it is what we call sticky.
So if I change it, then when he runs the script, it's not gonna change it?
Right.
Oh,
Okay, so
so what sticky means, because I changed it, you can't override me.
Correct. Correct. Okay, so let me go back and we had this little side conversation over here, which is good because concluding a class is going to look at the end date right here. What we are working with right now is on a production course to add 2 weeks on to the end of that so that your students can challenge you on grades, okay? So they can get out there and take a look at that. These are scripts that we will be running. We are not running them yet for summer or for fall. We will. But let's say you're out there right now and you say, well, geez, Ed, I'm going to need at least, X number of days or weeks for my students to be able to get into these classes. You can change this date for the end. You can also change the beginning or the opening date for the class. These should be coming from Banner. What is the official start date of this class? So we would put this in from Banner. The other script that we're going to start running here probably in another couple of weeks is rather than saying 7 p.m., it will say midnight. Okay? This is running off of a server Greenwich time. Okay? I guess that means somewhere there's the Grand Meridian, and so that's the timeline. We will be adding 5 hours, I guess, onto this, probably in another couple of weeks. But all of you have the ability to change the start date, end date, start time, end time. When you do that as an instructor, it is called sticky dates. Sticky. In that if we run a script, your authorization overrides any script that we might run on it. Okay? Follow me. You do not want to conclude a course. If you accidentally conclude the course, come talk to me, email me. I can open that back up again. And the only reason you might want to look at that is if you've got incompletes. Sometimes you've got students that, they need more time at the end of the semester. If you don't change anything in Canvas, that course is going to conclude. And then that way you can't go out there and grade anything. The students can't get in there. So if you ever have an incomplete, I think you have a couple of options. One is to extend the existing course into the future. Okay. The other thing would be to put them into another course that maybe you're starting that next semester with. You really have to decide what you want to do with that student.
we can still do it by hand kind of thing through the office.
Sure you can. I mean, I'm just saying if you're collecting assignments from them somehow through the LMS, you'll have to decide how you want to do that. Okay. So don't hit the conclude button. Leave that alone. We talked about the reset button a little bit. Validate links in courses. When you import a course from a source course, from another environment, it's going to, during that import process, check all of the links to make sure that they are going to work during the import process. Now, let's say that you think you fixed everything and you go, gosh, I wonder if this is still working. If you go back over here to settings, you can say validate links in content, and it's going to go look at every single HTTP, HTTPS, and confirm whether or not those are working or not. So I don't know. I don't think I have anything out here, so it's going to be very fast. But it would come back with a list of things that may not be working. I like that. Because, sometimes we do things and we forget about them for a while. Okay. So I go back over here to settings again. This can be run pretty much at any time, that validation in content. Okay. The other thing is that registration for fall started, I think, last night at 9 o'clock.
Yeah. I've got a really hard time getting out mine today.
Did you?
Get those kids out.
Well, it was fascinating. In my house, you probably don't know this, my wife is in charge of our banner
Yes.
system. And so she's there at 9 o'clock last night. This is like mission control. She's got all of her people online from the college and she's got her computer open. She goes, 30 seconds in, 500 registrations. 2 minutes in, 800 registrations. And so she's watching the registrations that are going on last night at 9 o'clock. And so, you know, I just kind of got out of the way, you know. Are there any online classes filling up?
Summer ones would have been fun to watch, because those filled up, ours filled up, the online ones filled up in like 2 minutes.
You know, and I would love to know if we're looking at the wait listing.
Yeah, I'm curious, I haven't even tried to see, because my online, public speaking classes are full, all the hybrids.
Sure.
Are both full. I haven't even looked to see if you can see
You,
anything.
you should ask your dean about wait listing.
Well, I know that, I mean, they've been sending us lots of emails, but I don't know what we can see.
I don't think you
We
can.
can't see it, so we
I
don't
don't think so,
know.
no.
We should, but they can know.
Well, sure they should be able to. I mean, here's I'm going off on a tangent, I'm sorry. but-
Automatically first come, first
Yeah,
served,
it's,
maybe.
yeah, well, it's,
But some students don't drop until,
yeah.
But what I think is dropping for non-payment will happen.
And that
then
will automatically fill
That
them
will,
up.
that will file, kick off those
So you got 24
emails, they have
hours.
24 hours to do that. But in my mind, I'm sitting here going, we've got wait listing. Okay, how many students maybe are we turning away right now? Do we have enough students on wait lists that we should just automatically create another section
Yeah,
and do that? I don't know.
that's interesting.
Yeah, the other thing is too, in some classes, you can extend the limit because, I mean, the official limit, because, you know the space better and how many you
Sure.
can handle. So we're gonna be turning away lots of potential students who couldn't get
Sure.
actually accepted.
Well, for those of you that don't know, this is the summer was the first semester we're doing wait listing. And so in theory, the student can say, I really, really want in this class. If a seat opens up, send me an email.
What's nice is every summer we get like 100 emails the day after. We haven't gotten any, so there's people on the wait list. I just don't know how many. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
All right. Okay, over here on the right, we're pretty much done with this. Over here on the left, let's talk about a few of these things. Start, end date, and time. Okay, good. We know that. I have never played with different languages. Okay, I have no idea. But I guess if you're teaching another language, I don't know. What would that look like? We are currently setting all courses to a default 500 megabytes. Some of your colleagues put lots of graphics, lots of images, lots of things in their courses, and they may get an error in the import copy process. If you get that, I can bump this up. I just go in, you can't do it, but I can. I can just increase the number of megabytes for that. Okay, this says grading scheme. We talked about this briefly during the grading class. The default is not to have a grading scheme. When I click on this, I say set grading scheme. You can create your own grading scheme, or you can say select a grading scheme, and I've got this 90, 80, 70, 60 scheme that you could set. So if anything in your grade book happens between a 90 and a 100, you would assign an A to that in the grade book. Now, if you don't like that grading scheme, you can create your own grading scheme, but you have to do that within the settings detail tab to make that happen.
The default is points, right? Like it counts the points.
Correct, the default, but if you wanted in addition to the points, add the letter grade. So like at the end of the semester, when you guys are sitting there with your MyJCC portal, you have to put a letter grade in, right? So you could use this scheme to help you identify what that letter grade would be.
Will it begin to calculate their grade from the points they have earned through the semester too, so they might be totally misleading?
They could be.
Yeah.
I mean, you can decide when you want to turn this on, if that's what you want to do. And I think in the gradebook settings, there's also something that says use the scheme that's been attached. I'm just telling you that in D2L, there was this little tab that said grade scheme.
Yeah.
You don't see that in the grade. You have to go to the settings and identify the scheme here to make that happen. All right, let's go down here. I'm going to probably tell you, don't change these things, but I'm going to tell you what they do because you guys might click on them and go, cool. Visibility. This course is default to only be visible for the students who are enrolled in this course. I'm going to say 99% of you, that's all you want to do. I just want the students who have enrolled for and paid for this course to be in there. You could, I don't know why, but you could set it so that anybody who has logged into Canvas can get to your course. Maybe you're feeling generous, okay? Maybe you're saying, gosh, here's a free class, come on out, come into it, all right? We may use this approach for some of our orientations and tutorials. So if it's something that we want any student here at Johnson County to be able to take a look at, maybe it's resource centers, maybe it's communities, okay, we may change that to institution. But if you're teaching a class, leave it on course. Public would be something that they don't even have to log into Canvas to take a look at. Right now, I'm working on a public-facing tutorial course that if there's a student that's thinking about taking an online course at Johnson County, they can click on this link and get a feel for what the course might look like. And so I've got one class that I am going to set up as public. There's no registration required. Institution might be clubs and organizations, or it might be something that I don't care, as long as you are a student or you are a faculty or staff member here at the college, you can take a look at them. But just normally leave it alone at course, okay? The other thing is that you can also say that the syllabus tool in Canvas would only be visible at the course level. In other words, you cannot look at that syllabus until you get into the course. Institution, that would be, I will let you take a look at that syllabus if it is you're logged into the portal. And then finally, the public would be, you could provide a link to the syllabus within Canvas through just another URL. Right now, I'm still going to say leave it at course because I just get a little nervous about you opening things up that everybody else can see. Okay. Include the course in the public course index. No, we're not going to do that. Restrict students from viewing after the course date. That's default. If I come on down here, more options. This is where you have some options to say, let students attach files to discussions, let students create discussion topics. You have lots of different things that you can do out here. The other thing is, let's see. I was looking here for a second. I didn't see it, but there's just some of the additional settings that you can play with. These are toggle switches. They can go on or off. Once you make a change, you can say update the course details, and then that applies that to out in the system. These are all toggle switches. Questions on that? Okay. Sections. If you are requesting a merge of multiple sections, some of your colleagues might say, I'm teaching 2 or 3 online courses. The due dates are going to be the same, the starting dates are going to be the same, the material is going to be the same. The only thing that's different is the different students from the different sections. So if you have a situation like that, you can request a merge. And if that happened, then you would see different sections showing up here under this sections tab. Most of you will probably only just see one section appearing unless you do a merge request. Navigation. Navigation is where we have the menus over here on the left side. What do I want to have show up? If there's something that you do not want to have show up, you grab it, you drag it, you drop it down below. You grab it, you drag it, you drop it below. Okay? So really all I'm doing here is I'm just grabbing these things and I'm dragging them down below this little midpoint. I can then change the order. I can take the syllabus up to the top. I can, maybe put the modules up here, whatever order I want. When I save it, that's then going to lock in over here on the left-hand side. I can do student view to kind of confirm that. Because keep in mind that some of these tools, may not be used. But then when I do the student view, that gives me a better idea of exactly what that student's going to see. Any questions about the navigation part? What I envision is that many publishers, if I go back over here and look in a second, under navigation, will start to offer these little connections. We talked about this, that if I drag and drop, let's say, Cengage up here, that allows the student to make that connection to their content out in the cloud, or McGraw-Hill, or Pearson, or Macmillan. All of those are, opening up those portals for you to work with. If you
So
have,
when they enter Canvas, they click on that, and they go to the publisher side like Connect. And then they would have to enter their code at that point, and then from then on, it's just a regular connection directly through Canvas.
yeah, and you, let's see, Connect is a McGraw-Hill product, right?
Yes.
Okay. We've got a meeting next Friday with McGraw-Hill, my staff does, about deeper integration with McGraw-Hill. And I'm kind of excited about that because you could have content in their cloud that is inside your modules. So you could have a module that might say, read chapter, blah, 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 and there's a link that takes them out to the cloud. It might then say, participate in this discussion. There's a discussion that's in Canvas, not from McGraw-Hill Connect. It then might say, take a quiz, and there's a link that takes you out to maybe the McGraw-Hill test quiz bank. And you can change the order with your modules as to, maybe the book is not really to your satisfaction, the order that it's being delivered. You can change that how you want.
If they do exercises, tests, quizzes on Connect, do I have to manually import the grades then into Canvas?
I'm glad you asked that because the Connect product is getting to integrated grades. So if you have connected it and they take a quiz out in their cloud, that grade comes back into the Canvas grade.
There'll be some coordination on title and
Yeah.
quiz, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited about that because what that kind of lets you do is add more things to your course, maybe design it the way you want it to be. But if there's a quiz that's out in the cloud, you just put that link that goes out to the cloud. If there is a piece of material that they need to read, they click on it, they go out to the cloud. And that's all within the Canvas environment. So that's kind of the direction I see. And then if they take something that has a grade attached to it, that grade comes back into the Canvas grade.
Is that going to be the same with Cengage?
Yeah, they're all working in that direction right now. The cool thing about it is that with D2L, when we would go to these publishers, they'd say D2O. They really didn't work a lot with D2L, but when we say Canvas, they go, oh yeah, we work with Canvas because it's one of the fastest growing LMSs that's out there. Okay. One other thing I'm going to show you, and I might have talked about it also earlier, is this little thing called UDoIt. UDoIt is a little piece of software that will analyze your accessibility of content. So it will look to see if there is any ADA issues with your course and comes back with a report. Now, all you have to do is run it, and if there's something that you say, Ed, I don't understand what it's telling me here, come talk to me, come talk to my staff. We will look at that.
That was another question. So we're working on the Oscar stuff for our department, which is fun. But so one of the questions was, on D2L, it has like a read to me, like you could click read to me. Does that, is in Canvas, is that? No, so there's not a read to me.
No, what we're doing with that is I'll just show you. There's software. If I am a
So like
student-
if they're an access service student, they're gonna have a special software that will help them. Okay, and that's all I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like if I'm blind, I'm going to have JAWS or I'm going to have one of these two
Right.
softwares that will
So
do
they
that.
will have gotten that through
Yep.
access services. It
Yep.
won't be on Canvas. Okay,
Correct.
perfect.
Yep.
That was came up this week.
Okay. So these are things that you might want to, and I'll show that you do it to you here again in a minute, but these are all things that you have the ability to control, drag it up or drag it down. I would also do the student view too, just to make sure that, you know, everything's working correctly. Everything is not, you know, breaking or doing something. Apps tab. This is where Canvas is really working with a lot of different companies, like the publishers, like companies like Turnitin or library databases. When I click on this, this is sort of like their billboard of products that they have relationships with. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Do not assume that Johnson County has bought these things. Like Adobe Connect, we have not bought that. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't come talk to me and say, hey, there's this really cool thing that I'd like for us to consider. Absolutely. But because it's a cloud-based system, they're kind of sharing with you this billboard, this marketing saying, hey, I've got relationships with these companies. And it's fine to take a look and see what these are out here, but just be careful that if you click on something and we don't own it, somebody's going to have to pay for it. And chances are you're not going to get that far. It's going to ask you for some kind of an access code before you ever get very far to work on that. So if you have questions, come talk to me. Feature options. I've talked about this earlier, but I want to go back over it again. Every 3 weeks, Canvas updates their system. Do you remember me telling you that? I can't remember. Every 3 weeks. And so what they will do is they will send me, and if you want to be on that list, you can have my email. Here's what's going to be happening in a couple weeks as far as changes. And so we actually have 3 different environments. We have a production environment and we have a beta environment. So there's a beta space out there that I can go into and see what's going to happen here in a couple weeks, kick the tires and see what's going on. Okay. Beta also means that you're going to have to turn it on in order for your students to take advantage of it. So right now in production, there are some things that are like the new grade book. See how it says beta? What I did though was that I told the Canvas people, I don't want our faculty to learn a brand new grade book because they turned this on back in August. Just turn it on for us. So you see over here where it just says on. There's not a slider that goes back and forth. Other items out here, these are sliders. They can go on or off. So you could go into a class and say, well, I wonder what this anonymous grading means. I wonder what mastery paths mean. I wonder what, blah, 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 all these different things here. This is allowing you to turn that functionality on inside this course and see if it's something that you want to do.
Okay, that's something we're going to do adventures.
Well, sure, and what you're going to find is that I'm trying to send out every month, you know, here's what's new and changing. You might get like a video in the announcements to say, you know, here's something that's changed. If you go, ooh, 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 I want that, okay? The default might be it's not turned on. So you may have to go into your course settings, features, and turn that on, okay, to take advantage of it. This last go around, there really wasn't anything that really changed major. I didn't even put the video out because there wasn't anything that I saw. It was mostly administrative. What I will tell you is that things that typically are big happen between semesters. So there could be something coming up here the end of May that might be in the works. There will probably be some stuff the end of July that they will release. So my job and my staff's job is to get in front of that and let you know, here are some things that are going to be options starting with, this next release. Typically, if you see something out there, you want to try out a little bit, keep the tires a little bit more, go in here, slide it over to the right, and you can see how that might work.
Okay. Who is Mark Auditing Success?
Yeah. So Ed says, what does that mean?
There's a little question mark on the side.
Well, there's not. So I could say, well, what does this mean? So I use the old reliable. I think now let's come down here and grab. Okay, so I just typed that in, and now I'm out here into the Canvas community, and it's talking a little bit about some of these different things that. What does that mean? Okay, well, I don't know, but there is some people that are basically responding to that. The one thing I will tell you about Canvas is that it loves Google. I mean, you can go out there and say, how do you do extra credit in Google, and it will find something in the Canvas community that addresses some of these different questions that are out there. Okay. All right. All right. So these are the things that are going on here. These are, once again, toggle switches. Every month, there's a possibility, I'm not saying for sure, but there's always a possibility that something could be added to this list. And that you would then have to decide, ooh, that's something I really, really, really like. And I'm going to turn it on. If it's something that is really going to impact you, I will include an announcement out there that has maybe a video that talks about the impact that that's going to have. You all right so far? Okay. So at this point, I have basically went out and I've talked about the settings tab. We talked about how to copy stuff from one class to the other. Reset, you know how to do that. You know how to change dates and times and stuff on your default courses. You also, I don't know that I talked about it, but you can also add an image on the cards dashboard if you want to put those images out there. I think, let's see, there was a question about what kind of software would be available, and I was trying to look for Photoshop. We do have, the college, I'm almost positive, has a license that you can get products like Photoshop and some of the other Adobe softwares for home use. You'd have to check with the Technical Support Center, the help desk, and they can tell you how to get those softwares for
Maybe
that.
on the same menu that if you want to put Windows or whatever on your home computer, would be in that drop down.
It could be. I started looking for it and I couldn't find it, so that's why if you're interested in like Photoshop or the Adobe, just contact the Technical Support Center and they will probably send you an email that says, here is how you install that.
That'd be the same thing for the Excel, Word.
Sure, the Excel is a little easier to do than the other products. If I'm looking for Excel, I would just go to the main JCC website, log into Office right here.
I have it on my old computer. I bought it years ago. It's $10 or something. But I'm trying to put a new computer together, and
Yeah, that's
one. I guess I need to upgrade to 2016.
So for Office, I just log in to where I would check my email at. And I come over here to this little cube. And then I say Office 365. And there should be a little thing that says install Office. And that would include Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and all that kind of stuff. on my computer, and this can be at home.
It's nice to have that book, too.
Sure. The thing that I'm using probably more is more the online version of software. So I might click here, and that's actually just going to use the online version of Word. And the cool thing about that is anywhere I can get to the internet, I can get to these documents and work on them to do stuff. So, okay, that little tangent went out of there. Okay, so
Thank
you can do that. Okay.
Yeah, but anyway,
When you're building a page, like when I get to that page, my mind just goes blank.
Okay.
And because I would like to create a page, because I liked how you showed us that one page, and I know you said you inserted a table,
Sure.
and then you can,
You want me to start from scratch and show you how to do that?
well, I don't know, okay.
I can do that. I can do that.
I think that was the first class too,
Sure.
and I feel like that was the most.
Sure.
tables are very helpful.
Okay. Well, let's do that. Here is a blank class, nothing here. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say pages. And it says, do you want to add one? Well, yeah, I want to add one, or I come up here to the plus, either place. And maybe I'm going to call this welcome. Now, I could bring in maybe an image if I want to. I'm going to just put in some text. Then I'll come down here, this little icon that looks like table, and I'm going to say, let's make 3 columns across and 3 rows. Now, I could say that this is and then I could also come out here if I don't think I have any images, but I could search for something. Let's just say Monday. I don't know if there's anything out there called Monday. Okay, let's look for oops, no, gonna take okay. It's pretty disgusting, isn't it? Okay.
Tuesday should be under Tuesday.
I know.
Okay, sorry, I'll take this one out, we'll delete that one, I'll grab this and drag it over. There we go. Okay. Now let's take wind. There we go. Okay. Now, these are, I can change the different sizes to this. What I'm doing here is I'm simply using what I might find in a word processing software. Text, tables, okay? Tables have cells. Inside of those cells, I can put images. I can put text. I can also go in here and put links to other things too. So if in this class, for some reason, there was links to maybe some modules or links to other assignments that I have created, I could go over, put my cursor wherever I want it to go and say, put a link to quiz 1, put a link to the syllabus, put a link to all these different things. And what I'm starting to do is to build a page that has images, has text, and it also can have links to other items that I may have already built inside my
So do I
course.
need to first complete modules and then go make a page?
You know, I would maybe say yes. Because I'm kind of doing this same thing right now myself. That I've got all these things that are sitting kind of in the hopper, and I'm saying, ooh, but I want to do this. I want to grab and put this here, and I want to put this here, and then I want to link to this. And so that's kind of, that might be the approach I think about.
Okay, so maybe because my source course is just completely blank, so I probably need to copy my migrated course to my source course. So I have modules in there already, and then create a page and bring things over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when you know that, you put it into the production course, right?
Correct. Yeah, I mean, so like right now I can say save. And now I have this welcome page and, you know, do stuff with that. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do, but that's okay. Does that help any on the design process? I really like this because what it lets me do is I always to the right have access to everything that's already here. Links, existing things that are there. Files, maybe it's a PDF file, maybe it's a PowerPoint file, maybe it is a other kind of file. I can get to it over here. Images. If there are things that you have, you can, I was using Flickr, but I could also go over here and say images, upload a new image, and I can go out, maybe I've got them on a hard drive, maybe I've got them on a jump drive or something like that. I can upload all those images into that images folder and then take advantage of them from here. I can also create, you know, different folders to work with. Let me do this. Let me go over here and I'm going to show you actually kind of something I've been working on. Okay, so let me see if I can find. So this is a class that I'm working on right now for the tutorial. And I'm trying to add some graphics in here, but I'm also trying to kind of keep it so that if a student has this thing right here, okay, that they're actually able to, you know, see what that might look like on a mobile device. So I'm trying to kind of limit what I'm doing here. If I say edit, what I've done is I've brought an image in. I'm not using any tables here. I'm just using kind of things stacked on each other. And I have an image, and then I'm taking this image and I'm tying it to either a module or a page. So that when they go to that page and they push on this icon, it takes them either to a module or it will take them directly to a page within Canvas to do some stuff with. Another thing that I've been playing with, I know I have a sad life, is that I'll take, you know, a link that I've created here and I highlight it, and my staff taught me this new command called Control K. So let me just write this down. Control key plus K, okay, allows me to open this in a new window. Now, what does that mean? Well, if that student clicks on that, it opens up another window and leaves sort of the existing page there. I don't want to get too happy with that sometimes because then I'll have like 10 windows open as I'm doing things. But there could be a situation in which maybe you do want them to just open it up. Maybe it's another external resource somewhere that you just, you know, you don't want them to get lost on the path that they're going down. So I just learned that Control K here just recently. When I highlight something and I say Control K, it will go ahead and allow me to add in maybe other information with that. Okay.
Okay, can I do that when I'm looking through tutorials?
If you're designing something,
I'm just thinking.
sure. Well, okay, so let me look at this from a student. If I go over here to settings and I say, look at this from a student perspective today, okay, this is going to link to probably a module. So as I go back up here and I take a look, each one of these are going to go to a specific location under a module. I'm embedding video. It's just a YouTube video that I've done here. These are websites that they go out to. So see this little kind of graphic to the right of that? It's saying links to an external site. So when I open it, it opens a new window that I still have over here to work with. And the way I did that was I did that, highlighted that, and then I said Control K, new window, so that it goes out to another location. And now I still have this, but I have the new window that I can also go in there and close.
Well, how do you put the link in
Okay, you would need to know, first of all, where is the website you want to go to. So let's use this as an example. I'm going to say leave and edit, and let's say down here at the bottom, Johnson County. Okay, and I highlight this, and then what's the control key I use? Control K. It is HTTP. And then I could say, open this in a new window. Okay. Save. Okay, so see how that has now given me a new link to a page that opens up in another window.
So we could do that for, we want to put links to the library, the class, student services.
Correct.
Without that option, it just stays in this tab.
Correct. It stays in the tab. And I kept looking at stuff and I was going, you know, I don't want, I still want people to stay sort of here and go outside. So we've been having questions about, do I develop modules? Do I develop pages? How do I do this? And so if it's something that I want to stay here but go out someplace else like a resource, I might say Control K, open in a new window, and open that up with that. Now, what I haven't researched is what does our ADA people say about that? You know, I guess I need to do some research on that, as long as it follows that. Okay? Questions? I mean, today's your day to ask questions.
Well, I know I'll have a ton of questions, so I do
I do too. When I sign, my assignments are all in my files. I'm not going to use them, but I was kind of playing with them today. If I assign along with the quiz and whatever else I put in my module for chapter 1, however I do that, and then I want students to write something and then attach it to it used to be Dropbox in D2L, and then the Dropbox in D2L is the great asking
Sure.
because there's the comment area.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just the way I think, to make comments on whatever they've written, rather than go in there and highlight things and change it, add and delete. I want to do that. So is there a comparable way to use that old method?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
So if you want to do a Dropbox,
Uh-huh.
okay, you're going to go to the assignment tool. Okay. And then you're going to say add an assignment over here where it says plus assignment. And at this point, you could call this, you can call it Dropbox if you want to, Dropbox Essay 1. How many points is that going to be worth? Okay. It's going to display as points. It's going to say, how do you want to collect that Dropbox assignment? Well, I'm going to allow them to give me a file upload online. Okay. And so the fact that it has points attached to it, that's going to put it into the gradebook. It's going to be a file upload. So that's going to be like a Dropbox. I'm going to say save and publish. So what I should see now, here in a second, is that I have under the assignment list a Dropbox essay that if I say settings, student view, oh, I don't have it. I need to put it somewhere first. Maybe under modules. Then I can say add that essay settings student view Dropbox essay. And then what the student should see here in a second is submit an assignment. And then they would find a file, they would submit that assignment, and then that should then come into my to-do list as an instructor.
Okay,
And
so,
then-
okay, so you wouldn't go back to like the Dropbox.
You can. I mean, you'd use something called SpeedGrader
Oh, right,
to do that with.
okay.
Okay.
But all of their uploads would be there by student.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
I will figure that out. It's just, but this morning I was student. I couldn't
Sure.
remember.
I mean, it's different. There's no tool in
Yeah.
Canvas called Dropbox. There's a tool called Assignment. And that's sort of, a little confusing, but that's what we're here to teach you about. To work with.
Okay, so that makes my modules slightly different, actually structure those in there. My assignments do roll over anyway, so. It's gonna be a new piece.
Well, give us a chance to look at it, okay? Come in and talk to us. Do not make the assumption that because maybe you can't see it doesn't mean that maybe the rest of us can't find it.
No, I mean, they're in all of the guidelines that I use, that's what I have in my module, a link to those. And that's not, it's not showing up at all. They're in the actual guidelines are in my file list. So I'll have to click on them and move them over to wherever I want them. I'm going to change them.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'll figure it out.
Okay, other questions? What else do we need to make sure we talk about? Well, here's a question for you. Are you feeling dangerous? Are you feeling like you can jump out here and start doing things?
I feel more confident in playing.
Okay.
I'm not so afraid to click on just any darn.
You have fear.
In my production course, if I copy, let's say I copy my source course into my production course, but then if I would reset that because I decided I want to get, I'm not gonna delete student names or anything, it's just,
No.
okay.
Resetting the class takes content, not students.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I would not reset a class that you've started to grade stuff in. Okay. I just have to keep saying that over and over and over again that, you won't lose your students, but if you have graded something, that will go bye-bye. Okay.
We create our own production course, is that right?
Well, when you say we, the college creates production courses. So just to kind of add a little technicality to it, is that there's this system called Banner on campus. The administrative assistants and deans and chairs build courses. They assign faculty. As soon as that happens in Banner, those transactions come over to Canvas. And so that's why if you start looking in Canvas right now, you're probably seeing summer and fall classes already
I
here.
don't see fall yet, but I see.
Yeah, fall's not there yet.
Okay.
I
Well,
saw the.
as soon as they assign you to a class in Banner, that should come over.
But I had to go to my course list.
Yeah.
And then I had to put a star next to it so it would show up in my dashboard.
Yep, good point. So I say courses and then all courses. This is where they're probably going to show down here at the bottom that might say future enrollments. Now see, these are staff development. I've got way too many staff development classes. Then I would have to star that. Okay? Now, go ahead.
Well, because the contract situation too, does that, for an adjunct, does that delay those showing up on our dashboard, or once they're, that would be a different
Okay.
situation.
Dashboard versus courses, that's different. Dashboard is something that you're gonna have to star over
Okay.
here.
Okay.
See, like right now, these are classes that were just built a few days ago.
Yeah.
As soon as I star it, then it's gonna go onto my dashboard.
Okay, so that.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, here's something that I'm also gonna let you know, is that I was out thinking last night, I was working on some of this stuff, I said, who could be a guinea pig that I can see how this stuff looks like from a student perspective? Okay, my son, okay? So I thought, well, let me check and see, because he signed up for a class, what does it look like from a true student perspective? So I log in and I look at Canvas, and I know he's enrolled for a summer class, but it's not showing up. I'm going, okay. Well, what I'm figuring out is that even though it is there, it has not yet been published. Okay? So once that course is published, it will show up on the dashboard for students.
So theirs automatically go to the dashboard?
Correct.
For the, okay, so
Correct.
they would have to take it off the dashboard
Yeah.
themselves, okay.
Correct. Now, the star will take it off.
Right, but at least start there. So
Correct,
it's-
correct. So that's why I'm circling back to probably here in about another few weeks, we're going to automatically publish all summer classes, all fall classes, which I think will also help students because, you know, if I were my son and I said, well, where the heck's my class? They could get to it. They would have to come over here to courses and then go down and say all courses. And then it shows up down here, you know, under future courses. That's another reason why we're going to automatically publish all these courses. At least it will show up. Now, they may not be able to get into it until your start date, okay? But I know that we're going to start getting calls from students saying, dang it, you have my money. Where is my class? And why is it not showing up on there? Now, when that class concludes, guess what happens to the student's dashboard?
Goes away.
It goes away. So they can still get to that course or maybe see it, maybe not get to it, but they could say, you know, courses, all courses, past enrollments, and it would probably show up down here, but they would not be able to click on that. Okay. So we're trying to work through some of these things. Publishing is a good thing. We want to publish these classes. That's why we're going to try to do that for you moving forward. But you still have control over start and end dates. You can decide how quickly they get in there and then how long they can.
So even though it's published, they can't see it until the start and date.
They can't get into it.
They'll see it, but they can't
Correct.
get into it. You're
Correct.
okay. So they know it's there, they just know.
Correct. Yep. Put that. Okay.
There you go.
All right. Very good. Other questions? You know, this has been a real good experience. Again, is that as we continue to play with this and work with this tool, I learn more and more things all the time. So if you check with me in a year, I'll go, oh yeah, and another thing that you guys should remember. Okay. It's amazing what I've added to my list of items since August that we were working through.
Now I know how my students feel. They ask some questions. Oh, yeah, well, let me take it 5 steps further and point this out. And it's like, I never ask another question.
Okay, but I hope you understand, we're here to help you, okay? Whether you're at home and you say, can I just call the Ed Tech Center? Can I email the Ed Tech Center? Can I call or email Ed? Yes, 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 all of it. So, and I made Rhonda happy today too. I was glad, you know, to do
Yeah,
that.
plus what you showed her, what you showed us when you were loading images, because I usually don't use them, so I thought this time maybe I will.
I wish there was a template you could just import. That would be nice, a blank template if they had really good pages out there, and then you could put in your own pictures and your own links.
There is,
Oh, there is?
Commons,
Well, and then so then I would have to download it and look at it.
and then remove stuff you don't want.
Okay.
I mean, that's,
You would do that into your production.
well, source course.
Source code.
Okay, so like over here on my dashboard, I think these classes are ones that I had found in Commons. Well, that's probably not a good example, but Commons, there's a biology class out here somewhere. Let's find.
But if you want to move into a blank source course.
I would say a blank source course. So I basically went out to Commons and I found biology. So I imported this biology course into an empty source course. This is completely editable. So I could say edit, and I could say, I don't want the biology graphic in there. I want to take it out and replace it with something else. So I come down here, I'm going to take these cells and I'm going to take out, you know, so I mean, yeah, that's kind of what I've done, is to go out and look at what other graphics. Now,
Where do I find that on Commons if I wanted to?
so go back to Commons,
Okay.
and I'm going to come over here and, you know, maybe I'm just going to say pages. And let's just say I'm going to look for welcome. So all I'm really doing here is just doing a thing here that says, you know, what does this look like? I don't know. I mean, I'm just kind of playing with this a little bit. So instead of bringing the entire course over, I could just go out here and say, show me some welcome pages. Okay, so here's something that's kind of interesting. This would be a welcome front page that has some graphics and some different, you know, hyperlinks out there to work with. Okay, I could do that. And here's another one. This is an example of their, I'm almost positive they're probably using tables with images in here. And then as you click on that, that might take you to a specific location. So this might be a case of, rather than bringing the whole dang course over, just ask for a page and just import that one page in and take a look and see what that looks like. Lots of cool stuff.
Like the second grade is cool.
Well, you know, I think we need to recognize that our K-12 colleagues,
Yeah.
they're very, very innovative, and they have some really, really neat stuff that they've been doing. So, does that help any?
Yes.
Okay. You don't have to have the whole dang class. You could go back and say, I only want a page. Or on the other thing that we could do too, is that you could say, I only want, come on, get out of the way. There you go. Is that maybe I only want a quiz. Okay, maybe that's all I want. I just want to look and see if there's some quizzes out there that do something, or a module on something. I mean, you don't have to take the whole dang thing. You can maybe just search for certain items that might be out here. And what I uploaded was this entire course, but I will be uploading maybe within the next day or two a module that you can drop into your online courses if you want to, that will show students how to do their profiles, how to do their notifications, how to do lots of different things. And then you can plug that module into your existing course that kind of helps, and it's got, you know, contact information for the help desk or technical support center, you know, lots of different things that are there that you can have. Right? Good questions, very good questions. What else? Nope.
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 I'm gonna be working on those quiz items, like my test banks, and putting those, I know you said we could put like chapter 1 on a group and then have it ranked as level. Those are gonna be plenty.
You record quiz Tuesday, right?
Guess I did. And I think it might actually be up there right now. So let's go back and look and see. We had late spring, and then I have a late spring here, recordings. So if I scroll down, started, assignments, quizzes. So you're fortunate. I've got two different sets. The one I did just on Tuesday is right here.
Okay.
So when I'm done here in a few minutes, I will end the recording and then I will upload managing your course into here as well. So when you're having problems sleeping at night, you can come out and you can listen to me talk once again.
Great. No, but I was able to make it Tuesday, so.
Okay, very good. Well, good luck to all of you. I know that, hopefully the head is not ready to explode, but yet you can come back to us and ask questions. You can watch these videos. We're here to help you. Okay.
Yeah, very helpful.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not nearly as brave